you look at where we're at right now. We are right on top of the action. It's always very intense here. I mean, it's lost some excitement this year, from the lack of crowd noise. We're used to seeing every school at the end of the pool cheering on their relays, and just not getting that this year.
Yeah, and that's been obviously universal across the board with all sports. Limited numbers of fans being allowed in, and as you mentioned, no fans here at the swimming meet because there's just so many teams and coaches, and then our little media group up here trying to make this all happy and bring it to you on the live stream. So very little cheering going to be going on today. You're going to hear a lot of yelling from the coaches, but mostly just encouragement and not really per se some hype up type of stuff.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of coaches going berserk today, jumping up and down. Brock Sperling always comes to mind, and from Lexington there.
No question.
Talking to a few coaches last night just about how has this year been different from years past. Talking to Deb Henry over in Ontario, and something that Ontario did as an athletic department is they started to put their kids in pods. And I know back in the summer when training started to happen for fall sports, they talked about putting kids in pods. That way, if you have to quarantine a kid, or if a kid comes tested positive, you're only quarantining a certain amount of kids versus your entire team. That's something Ontario said, Deb said they've done in Ontario this year, and as a result, they really haven't missed a whole lot in terms of training.
Next scheduled event is going to be the girls' 200-yard freestyle.
Meet record here is 156.6, set by Michelle Brim back in 1996. That record has stood for a while. Now, typically, as I said, I have gone through the last 4 years of qualifying times that have made it out of this, out of sectionals and on to next week. You're looking at about a 2:11 has been the fastest time to be the last qualifying spot, to about a 2:13, 2:14. So somewhere in the middle there is what it's going to take to get out of this event on the next weekend.
Three young ladies who will be in the pool here, as you can see on our screen. Competing two for Mansfield Senior. Ava Kramer, just a freshman for the Lady Tigers. And then Alexis Johnson in between them, competing for Ontario. She's got the best seed time with a 2:23 in heat 1 of 2. So we are just getting started today, folks. Got a long day of swimming. Going to be broken up into 2 flights if you're just joining us. 5 teams competing in the early flights. We'll have 6 teams competing this afternoon at 4 p.m. So right now, a whole host of Richland County schools mixed in with a couple of Crestline kids, and then Ashland Crestview as well, who has, arguably one of the best swimmers here, and Ross Kuhn's going to be competing. So we'll get an opportunity to see him here pretty soon.
Ross, certainly a very talented swimmer, former state qualifier in the 100 backstroke. Just barely missed out on that spot a year ago, but he should be fun to watch today.
So here comes Elizabeth Dotherman, Alexis Johnson, and Ava Kramer all into the pool. Pretty even to start. Johnson with a mini lead.
Now, one thing you're going to see today, Brian, is typically for a lot of these kids, this is their big meet of the year. This is their taper meet. They're fully shaved. They're in racing suits. The guys are in racing caps, and this is their peak meet. They are trying to get their fastest time today to qualify for next weekend. Now, for another group of kids, as coaches look through their times throughout the year, they think they're pretty safe to make it to districts. They will not be in suits today. They will not be, when I say in suits, in racing suits. They'll be in regular team suits, and those are typically kids in the faster heats. Now, it's also 2020, 2021, so who knows what we're going to get today.
Expect the unexpected, Matt. That's what we know. That's what 2020 has taught us, and I think it's definitely made us all a lot more accommodating to the unusual.
Yes, absolutely.
See Johnson maintaining her edge. Kramer falling well behind now. Almost a full half lap. Dotherman in second, the junior just behind Alexis. So they've got a pretty decent head-to-head going.
The third 50 of that 200 is always the one that is most mentally taxing for a kid. At least that's what all my swimmers always told me. They're excited for that for the first 100, certainly for the last 50, but that third one is where you really got to be tough mentally to get yourself going and keep yourself going. As Kramer starts to creep up here.
This one's going to come down to the wire, but it does appear as though Johnson, the senior, will touch first with a time of disqualified, Matt. What happened?
Yeah, unfortunately, the way some touch pads read around here in the area of swimming, if the pad doesn't read it initially, they'll go to the backup time. Now, that 2:31 you see up there, that's not an accurate time. I think she came in around 2:19. It's just that the touch pad didn't read her finish.
Gotcha.
They'll make the Mike Lehman at the table there. He'll make the adjustment. That's a great time drop for Ava Kramer, 12 seconds. Wow.
Now Dotherman finishing up. She's going to be just a shade over 3 minutes.
She's going to be under her best in season time. That's a good drop for her. Yeah, we look at Johnson there. 2:18 was the official time. 2:18.82. Good time drop for her, almost 4.5 seconds.
Now here comes heat 2 of 2. Lexington all over the pool here. They're going to have 4 competitors in this heat, including Gracie Skoog in lane number 1. She's just a freshman. Natalie Queen, the sophomore, is in lane 2. The senior from Ontario, Natalie Link, in between them. And then Ellen Zirian in lane 4. Kyla McFadden in lane 5. And Ellie Martinez, the Ontario sophomore, at the far end of your picture in lane 6.
Natalie Link is the defending MOAC champion in this event. She won her conference title 3 weeks ago in lane number 3 there.
She has got just a slight advantage right now, but this is a good one going right now, Matt. 4 swimmers all within about a half length of each other.
One thing that really makes a difference in events right here where, you know, it's a shorter distance, and you don't think 200 is a shorter distance, but it really is. A lot of time can be cut back on and off the walls here. Kids who have good underwaters, good dolphin kick. You look at Lincoln lane 3 there. That was a great underwater. She took her first 2 strokes before taking a breath there. That's what you want to see.
Off the turn, we still got pretty much a dead heat going between the 3 swimmers in the middle.
Again, this to try to make it out to next weekend, you're going to have to be about 2:11, 2:12. Typically is what makes it out in this event, and you could throw a blanket over the first 3 swimmers there. This is going to be an exciting finish here.
Link right now with the slight edge, but Zirian, McFadden right there pushing as they all pretty much make the final turn at the same time here. And it is coming down to the wire. Looks like Link and McFadden pretty much neck and neck, but it is going to be Link first with a 2:10.
Wow, 3 swimmers there at 2:10, Brian.
All separated by, wow, one of them by just a 1/10 of a second between first and second place. So that's about as tight as it gets. McFadden just barely runner-up, but well below her season best.
Yes, absolutely. 2:10.30 there. That should be safe to next weekend. Queen up there in lane 2, 211. That should be safe. That might be close, actually. All three of the first 4 finishers there probably going to get into next weekend at Bowling Green.
Next up on the docket, we've got the boys 200-yard freestyle. We'll also have 2 heats going here. The first will feature a pair of Tigers. They're in the inside and outside lane. Lexington, represented by Mason Tritshoe. Then Ontario with a pair of swimmers, Dylan Damron and Alex Mathis.
Meet record in this event, 146.7 back in 2014 from Davis Garrison and Ashland.
That's really cooking. Nobody has a time close to that.
That time will most likely not be touched today. Now, if you look at the qualifying times for districts the last 4 years, typically a 201, 202 has gone through. Last year was the fastest year I can recall, where a 159 was the last time to make it out.
So off the turn here, in the lead at the moment is Ontario junior Alex Mathis. Starting to pull ahead of the field a bit.
Looking real good this first 50 here. Seed time of 2:23.3. He's out in about a 101. Looking really good so far.
And he's going to make the
turn.
turn.
That is a really good underwater.
Nice one. And he's got a couple second advantage here in heat number 1 of 2. Coach Sperling just in front of us here at the announcer booth, cheering on Mason Tritshoe.
2:25 is Mason's time. Best season in time as a freshman. He's going to have a good time drop here if he can finish strong this last 50.
And here comes Mathis down the stretch. Final touch comes in at a 2:07. Not bad.
That is a 16-second drop if my math is correct. That's an insane time drop right now.
Isn't it? Doesn't even seem possible.
No.
I think even he's confused.
Yeah, that is a remarkable time drop. Dameron with a 3-second time drop in lane 3 there. Time drops across the board.
So everybody's a winner in this first heat.
You know, that's the nice thing about swimming, Brian, is while you are competing against, you know, the people beside you, you're always competing against yourself as well.
One of those great sports, similar to wrestling, where it's an individual sport, all wrapped into a team event. And always trying to improve and be the best version of you that you can be.
Absolutely.
As heat 2 is underway, and the favorite here is going to be Lucas Starling, the junior from Lexington, but not too far off of him is his teammate Jaden Wyant, who's in lane number 4. He's a senior. Ontario's Colin Cordray, just a sophomore, would be the 3rd contender here.
Yeah, Cordray is the defending champion in the MOAC. Starling finished actually 3rd in the OCC in this event, and Jaden Wyant finished 2nd in the OCC in this event 4 weeks ago.
And we were talking off record before the meet got started, and from your time coaching at Madison, you were like, man, last time that I was involved with this, a lot of these kids were in middle school, and I recall Lucas Starling many, many years ago, watched him compete in the GMACs when he was a youngster, so he's come a long way.
You were making me feel very old, Brian. I appreciate that very much.
Well, we're all aging here, Matt. Haven't found the fountain of youth just yet, but always searching. It's got to be out there somewhere. Big lead here in lane 3. That is Starling.
Starling looking very good. That's a very good underwater there. Good breakout kick.
He's got Wyatt just behind him.
And then teammate Isaac McFadden up there in lane 5. His seed time at 2:04.4. This is his full taper meet. And I think he's going to be very happy. He's going to break 2 minutes here. Starling's going to touch just over his seed time. But his taper meet's coming next week.
Yeah, excellent time though, Matt. A 151.3. Second best, a 154. So creating some distance between himself and the field as everybody's in. And with a 2:07, Hunter Pettit, the final to touch, but 5 seconds below his seed heat.
It's so fun to just sit here and watch these kids drop an insane amount of time there. McFadden seated at 2:04.4, and he ends up going 157. He's going to go through the next weekend most likely.
Move on to event number 5 now. It's going to be the girls 200-yard intermediate.
Individual medley.
Individual medley. Thank you, Matt.
It's okay.
These swimming abbreviations are over my head. I am a mere amateur here pretending to call today.
Well, you know what, Brian? Last weekend I was working a wrestling tournament where I teach up at Mapleton, and to me, wrestling is the moon. So
I'm with you.
Now what you're going to see in the IM here, Brian, is each swimmer is going to do all 4 stroke disciplines. You're going to get a 50-yard butterfly from each swimmer. Then they're going to do a 50-yard backstroke, 50-yard breaststroke, and then the 50 freestyle to come home. And the best thing to watch about the IM, I think, is every swimmer has their strong strokes that they're good at. So you may see somebody who maybe isn't a very strong butterflyer, but they're a stronger backstroker or breaststroker start to make their way back in the field. And it's just fun to watch at the IM.
This is an interesting event. It shows all the different combinations of the strokes and obviously put your endurance at test too as you're trying to put them all together. So fun event, and I'm noticing here, as you alluded to earlier in the broadcast, about the different swimwear that would be worn today. And here in lane 2, we've got Olivia Marshall in what you would say maybe is a standard swimming suit, and then Riley Tem, Zoe Cannon in a longer suit on the legs. What's the difference here?
All right, so the way the longer suits are built, those are racing suits, what you refer to, and not only do they cost hundreds of dollars, but they're only good for about 3 or 4 uses before they start to stretch out.
Wow.
And they are designed to be really tight on the skin, to give, to repel the water when they're in the pool. There's something that kids this time of year, they're excited to put on. It's probably the first time they've put them on all year. And it really helps with the time drop. Scientifically, it's been proven that racing suits make a huge difference.
But expensive, so obviously they've been doing a few chores around the house if you're sporting one of those.
Yes, absolutely right. You know, when I was at Madison, we did a lot of fundraising for our kids to be able to purchase those at the end of the year. And
so we've got 3 Richland County competitors here. Freshman from Mansfield is Marshall. Ontario's got a junior, that's Tim. And Lex, Zoe Cannon, also a junior. Best time in this first heat belongs to lane 3, and that is Riley Tim.
Meet record here is held by Megan Brunn back in 2007. She was 2:13.30. Now in the girls 200 IM, traditionally, you're going to have to be about 2:32, 2:33 to make it out in this event to next weekend. But we've also seen years where 4 years ago a 2:36 made it out, and then the following year a 2:30 was the last time out. So you really don't know what you're going to get year to year, but you got a ballpark idea where you're going to have to be to get through.
Definitely have a couple competitors in the next heat, that being Lily Weeks and Tiffany Whitaker, that you would imagine would be well below that mark and be moving on to the next round.
Yeah, Weeks is the defending district champion in the 200 IM. If I recall correctly, she was 3rd seed or 4th seed going into last year's district meet and just blew everybody out of the water, winning the event. She was 2nd at the Ohio Cardinal Conference meet last month. Whitaker actually did not swim the IM at her conference meet, the MOAC. She swam the 500 free and the 100 breaststroke. So this is a event that she decided to switch up a little bit for the end of the year.
So Tem with a pretty decent lead here in this first heat.
You know, Brian, I've talked this morning a couple times about, kids being able to get through the next weekend, and I should explain what goes into that. So in the Northwest District, they take the top 24 times throughout all the sectionals, and then the top 32 individuals in each event, and those are the kids that qualify for next week's district competition up at Bowling Green State University.
And unlike some of the other sports, there are no regionals, so it goes from here to districts and then right into the state competition.
Correct. 3 levels of competition here.
Approaching the 3-minute mark.
Tem coming in, she's going to have a 4-second time drop.
And it's going to be Cannon touching in 2nd.
Nice time drop for her as well. Almost 5.5 seconds there.
And the final, about 13 yards here for the freshman from Mansfield Senior. And she also is going to drop some time here, Matt.
Yes, she
is. A few
is.
seconds.
Almost a full 4 seconds there for Olivia. That's a good time drop for her.
This next heat, though, is the one to keep an eye on, and in particular, the 2 swimmers that we already touched on in lanes 3 and 4, that being Weeks and Whitaker.
Heat 2.
Yeah, this will be a fun race to watch here, Brian.
Lily, the lone senior in the group. Whole bunch of sophomores out there, and then Whitaker is a junior.
You also notice Weeks in lane 3, she is not suited up. This is not her taper meet. Her goal today is to go right around her seed time and get herself situated for next weekend.
Pretty close here, neck and neck. Weeks with a slim advantage, as we assumed that she would, turning into the backstroke, and got about a full swimmer's length in between her and the competition.
Look at Kaufman up there in lane 5, hanging really close with Whitaker. Weeks looking very good through the first 100 here, the defending district champion.
And she's going to touch home here, even further ahead of the pack.
Breaststroke by far her best stroke.
Lily creating some nice distance, and she turns for the final 50. And I see she's got a great flutter kick going on, Matt, and you can always tell the best swimmers, they're always real strong with those feet.
Those legs are always moving. Whitewater's always kicking up. I know Coach Sperling at Lexington, they do a lot of kick sets in practice.
Lily's best time on the year is a 2:22. It appears that she's going to come in just under that.
Yeah, she is. She's going to set herself up nicely for next weekend. Whitaker with a time drop there as well. Maddie Kramer down here in lane 5, or down here in lane 2, excuse me. 7-second time drop.
And we're going to allow Lily a couple minutes here to catch her breath. And we've got Travis Berardi standing by, is going to catch up with the winner from that heat as we jump ahead to the next event. It's the boys 200 individual medley. This just one heat. And the top time so far belongs to Ben Starling, the Lexington Senior. 2:07 so far has been his best.
To get out in this event on the next weekend, you're going to have to be about a 2:22. Last year was a little bit slower time going in his last time at 2:25, but the year before that was a 2:20. So you're going to have to be, I think, right around 2:22 to get through this year.
Freshman from Lexington, Ivan, you might want to help me out with his last name if you know, Prikodko. He could be right there borderline, checking in with a 2:23. If he can drop some time, Avery Eldridge too, right in that ballpark, Matt.
Yeah,
so
that's exciting to watch. That's going to be exciting to watch there.
And how about all these Minutemen, all 4 packed into the middle and the 4 best seed times here?
Lexington has always done a real good job of turning out not just IMers, but really swimmers in general down there in that program. Meet record here set in 1995 by Brian Parsons with a 2:02.86. Don't know if that's going to get touched today, but Starling's looking really good early on here.
That's impressive for a record to stand up that long, 26 years. And looks like it's going to continue here today unless someone really gets a move on here. Obviously, the kid with the best opportunity would be Ben Starling. He's got a large lead as he makes the turn here for his final 50. And, boy, he does cook it a bit with the freestyle.
You've seen him go through in the butterfly, the back, and the breaststroke here, and he looks just as strong coming home. Look at his getting the legs moving, turning the arms over quick.
Yeah, he is moving. He's going to be real close to his seed time of 2:07. Let's see if he can come in under. He's going to be pretty much right on it, Matt. He's at a 2:08.03 officially.
He's going to be happy with that time as he gets ready for next weekend. Look at Ivan up there in lane number 2 at a 2:18.5. And then Avery Eldridge, 2:18.5 as well. Sorry, Eldridge at a 2:16. We talked about those guys being close to qualifying for next weekend. Those times should be good enough right there.
All right, we are now going to throw it down to the sideline where we've got Travis Berardi standing by with Lily Weeks.
Count me down. 3 seconds.
Take it away, Trav.
Here with the 200 individual medley winner for the girls' side, Lily Weeks. Lily, first off, congratulations. Just talk about your race.
Well, I was a little nervous going into it because Sorry, I'm still a little out of breath.
You're
But
right.
this was only my 3rd time swimming IM this year, so I was a little nervous because obviously the season's usually a little different where we get a lot more time to do each event. And then I didn't start swimming until December this year because I hurt my ankle. So I was just pretty nervous going into it, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's definitely weird, like, not having spectators here to cheer and stuff, so.
What would you say out of the 4 legs is your best leg?
My best stroke is breaststroke usually, but this year my backstroke's been getting a lot better. Say like the middle half is definitely my better part, like the back and breast. Fly and free, you just kind of have to like hold on.
All right, well, thank you, Lily. Send it back up to you, boys.
All right, thank you, Travis. So Lily, a lady of many talents, as she mentioned that she's good at a couple of the different strokes, but always improving, Matt, always trying to get better at all of them.
You know, one thing that she pointed out there was, meets looking a lot different this year. In swimming, you're allowed to swim 16 meets throughout the year, and I don't think any school here has swam all 16. And one other thing that, you typically see in swimming is around December you see a lot of big invitationals that Lexington and Ontario go to, and those didn't happen this year just because of the COVID restrictions and only allowing a certain number of teams and kids in the facilities. So, that has looked a lot different this year as well.
Next up on the agenda, event number 7 here in flight number 1. Event 7 of 24 that we have on the docket for our early session. This is going to feature 3 Lady Tiger swimmers: Deja Brown, Cheryl Knapp, and Elizabeth Dotherman. And then from Crestline, senior Ivy Stewart. And all of the times, Matt, separated by about less than a second. So
Yeah,
you expect this one to really come down to the final few strokes.
As they approach the wall at the first 25 here, they're all neck and neck here. Nice to see Crestline putting kids back in the water this year. They lost the team a year ago, didn't have enough interest, but nice to see Crestline kids back in the pool here.
Cheryl Knapp's going to run away with this one. Checked in with a seed time of 35 seconds and basically right on top of that, about a half second under actually.
The hardest thing in a 50, you have the start, the turn, and the finish, and you have very little room to make up anything. If you have a bad start, you have very little opportunity to make up for that, where you, in a 100 or a 200 or a 500, you have a lot more opportunities for that.
I think that's why I like this race, Matt. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. It's over quickly, but if you don't start great, you really got to compensate, push yourself to that second and third gear to try to make up for it. So it's a fun one.
It is a fun event.
Here in heat number 2, the favorite with the best time, Ellie Nikolai, is in lane number 3, but she's got some competition right next to her. Cameron Starkey of Crestview and Tequila Ramirez from Mansfield Senior, but it is going to be Nikolai running away from the pack.
I thought she was going to break 30 there for a second. 30.03 it looks like. Nice swim for her.
Great time. But we are to the lightning fast heat 3 of 3 here, and we've got some stars in the bunch. Bree Trumpauer, the standout sophomore from Ontario, has been phenomenal throughout her entire 2-year career. Olivia Newman from Lexington, the senior. Those are the 2 certainly to keep an eye on in lanes 3 and 4.
You look at both ladies here, neither one of them in racing suits. They're probably going to be safe to go through to next weekend with their in-season times. This is going to be a fun race to watch. Trumpauer, the defending champion in the MOAC in the 50 free. Olivia Newman, second place in the Ohio Cardinal Conference meet a month ago. They are neck and neck at the turn here.
What a great race we have in lanes 3 and 4. but it is going to be Trump Power pulling away with a 24.9, and that's just about a half second above her best time of the season. Pretty good stuff.
She's set up nicely to head into next weekend with that seed time.
So Trump Power with the 24.9 as mentioned. Second place there was Newman. 25.49 for her.
Ava Rui up there in lane 2 at a 26.5. Traditionally, a 26.6 has made it out. She's going to be very close to making it out in that event.
Tiptoeing right on that fringe. As we move on to event number 8, it's the boys 50-yard freestyle now. We'll have 3 heats here as well. And 2 Crestline kids involved here in this first one, Matt. We've got Bladen Wallard and Thomas Clark in lanes 2 and 4. Carson Ringler in lane 3 from Crestview, and then Mansfield Senior's got Matteo Michelini in the 5th.
You know, we haven't talked about it yet, but one thing we've seen out of Mansfield this year, they have 19 kids on their roster, where the last couple of years their numbers have been a little bit down. But as you look through the heat sheet today, they are fielding relays in all 3 relay events. Good to see their numbers coming back up.
Well, I tell you what, lane 3 has just been dominating here today so far. That's Ringler of Crestview.
That's a really nice swim.
Checks in with a 26.69.
Almost a full 2-second time drop for him there. Traditionally, a 24.3 has gotten out in this event. Last year was the fastest that it's been in a while. A 23.81 was the last qualifying spot a year ago.
In heat number 2 of 3, the lone swimmer that would be close to that mark, Chase Blackstone's got a seed time of 23.97 so far this season. Gregory Tan of Ontario going to be right next to him in lane 4. Just a shade over 24 is his best time of the season.
Tan finished second back at the MOAC meet a month ago.
All right, so as we get ready here for heat number 2, we are going to send it down to Travis Berardi. Travis is with the winner of the girls 50-yard freestyle, Bree Trumpauer.
Okay. I'm now here with Bree Trumpauer, the winner of the 50 free with a 24.9, just under a second away from the sectional record. But Bree, just how you think you did on your race?
I was a little disappointed with the time. I mean, it's okay for sectionals, but I definitely wanted to go into districts with a little bit faster time. We've been working pretty hard all week, and some of us haven't tapered for this meet, so I think it's a good place to be at for now.
At what point of your race do you want to improve to get that time down?
Definitely my turn. It was a little choppy here, but I'm just not used to these walls so much, and you can always improve on your start. But yeah, pretty much.
Race 1 of 4 for you today. What do you have to do to keep the energy up for all 4 races?
I think just keep a good mentality and not get down if you don't have your best time. Just stay positive and look forward to the next race.
All right, well, congratulations, Bree. We'll talk to you later, probably. Send it back to you, boys.
All right, thank you, Travis and Bree. What a stud, and boy, what a race we've got going on right here, Matt, in the final heat of the boys 50 free, and it looks like it's going to be lane 2, Ross Kuhn, who checks in first with a blistering pace, 23.16. Right on his season best.
He's going to be pretty happy with that time, I imagine.
And I am being told now that we are going to jump into a 15-minute break here. So the kids are going to have an opportunity to grab some snacks and hang out a bit. So we will send it into a loop and stay with you. Maybe we'll line up a few interviews for you guys with some coaches and try to keep you engaged during this 15-minute process. But before we do take a break, Matt, give me your first impressions of the first 8 events that we've seen here today.
You see a lot of time drops going on right now, and obviously it doesn't look typical of a sectional meet with, you know, the no energy from the stands, no swimmers at the end of the lane. But, you know, one thing that is constant for this time of year, the kids are dropping time. It looks pretty good across the board, and there's going to be a lot of happy coaches.
No question about it. Anytime you can improve on your best time of the season, it's worthwhile getting in the pool, and it's got to make you smile, not only as an athlete, but as a coach. And regardless of where you finish, Matt, if it's first, second, third, fourth, as long as you do your best and improve your time, good stuff right there.
That's, I think I said this earlier, that's the great thing about sports like swimming, and you can also look at it with running or things where you can measure yourself against yourself and not against other people. That's nice to see that, you know, that you have a clear-cut black and white of, hey, I'm improving in this, I'm improving in that. It's nice to be able to see that. It's very encouraging for kids.
So there is a list of what we have scheduled for the events here in flight number 1. The list on the side, that first column, already in the books. So we will be moving on to the middle section of that after a short break and perhaps line up some interviews for you folks. So we'll take a quick time out. We'll keep it here live and free. Sectional Swimming Championships will continue from Malabar Middle School.
Lender, craftsman, dog dead. We're more than our job titles, and you're more than an account number. The personal attention we provide comes from a promise to serve you with respect and compassion. By being responsive to your questions and taking time to understand your needs and goals, we give you more than just a place to bank. That's the more you can expect from Park National Bank. Find John or a banker near you at parknationalbank.com. Park National Bank, where you mean more.
No paywalls, just live sports, exclusively on the OH.Report.
Welcome back to live and free coverage of the Division II Sectional Swimming Championships at Malabar Middle School here in fabulous Mansfield, Ohio, where we are now to event number 11 on the day, the girls' 100-yard butterfly. My name is Brian Skowronski, joined today by the one and only Matt Wade, and 2 heats here for the ladies. 3 girls in the pool right now, 2 from Lexington, a couple of youngsters, sophomore Sophie Kaufman and Anna Perkins, just a freshman for Lady Lex. And then Olivia Marshall is in lane number 2, another 9th grader for Mansfield Senior. Best time in the pool, lane 3, that belongs to Kaufman with a 1:15. We'll see if she can best that here on this heat.
As we look at previous qualifying times in the Northwest District in years past, a 1:10 has been about the mark that you want to go if you want to try to get through.
And the time here is going to be a 1:17.5. That belongs to Kaufman. 1:21 for Perkins. And Marshall's seed time was a 1:51. It's going to be close here to coming under that.
Nice couple seconds drop there by Anna Perkins in lane 4. Marshall going to be right at about at her seed time.
In heat number 2, got some fast times, Matt. Amy Evans with the best seed time from Ontario. She's going to be in lane 3 with a 1:01. And that's 6 seconds better than the competition.
Yeah, she is the defending MOAC champion in this event, Brian. And I saw on Swim Swam earlier this week, she has officially committed to Lynn University, a Division II school down in Florida. So she won't be around this snowy climate much longer.
Probably the wise decision too, Matt.
You know, I never understood why you get those football players from down in the Florida area that want to come to Ohio State or Michigan. Like, do they not see the weather reports up here?
Well, I think what they do see, at least when they come to Ohio State, can't really say the same for Michigan, is all those first-round draft picks.
That would make sense, yes.
And how about all those gold pants, too, with the victories, Matt?
Yes, that is correct. Meet record here was set back 11 years ago by Karen Wade with a 1:00.12.
Any relation?
My little sister, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, obviously, the pool and swimming, it runs in the bloodlines, Matt.
It does. My sister Karen, a lot of my younger siblings swam for the longtime coach Frank Bartholow here, who's actually up at the scores table today. Frank is 87 years old. The natatorium's named after him. 87 years old, and I was talking today. He still plays volleyball every weekend. It's crazier than heck. It's a nice time there by Evans.
Yeah, just a shade below her season best. In second place in lane 2 there was Haley Damron, just a freshman.
Nice time drop for her. That 1:07.17 should be enough to get through the next weekend.
Now move on to the boys' 100-yard butterfly. This also will feature 2 heats. And lots of Lexington swimmers. Surprise, surprise, here in this first heat, 3 of them are competing. 2 from the Minutemen, that being Scott Bartlett and Matthew Ward, a freshman and sophomore in lanes 2 and 4, and then Alex Mathis in the middle, the junior from Ontario. And this should be total domination from the junior for the Warriors, as his best time on the season about a full 22 seconds better than the other 2 competitors.
Yeah, as we look through the qualifying times here from the last 4 years, 1:03 has been the slowest time, a high 1:03 4 years ago. Last year was the fastest it's been in a while at 1:01.7 was the last time to make it in. Mathis out in 30.5.
So to hit that mark, he's going to have to duplicate that here on his second 50. Got a good-looking stroke going here.
Yes, he does. He's going to have a strong finish here. He's going to be 103, and one of the bulbs is out up there on the board. He's going to be in the 103, that's going to be very close to being able to get out in that event for next weekend.
His best time on the year by a full 3 seconds.
He'll be happy with that swim.
And it looks like we've got PRs all across the board for everybody.
Yeah, nice time drop by all three of those guys.
In heat number 2, we've got a pair of swimmers who are sub 59 seconds in this event on the season.
I don't think they're going to get to Wilson Cannon's meet record of 53.2. He actually owns the pool record as well. Wilson Cannon does from 2 years ago at 53.2. But Jamin Howe here in lane 3, he was second at the Ohio Cardinal Conference meet. Dylan Dameron up in lane 5. He was third at the MOAX. Should be a fun race here. And unfortunately for James McFerrin there, at Crestview, there was no Mid-Buckeye Conference meet this year. So he didn't have a chance to swim in that conference championship.
He does have the second best time here at the sectionals, so should be a fun competition in lanes 3 and 4 between McFerrin and Howe. The swimmers getting set to get on their mark. And it's an excellent start in lane 4 for McFerrin. He makes the turn first. Howe looking to make up some time, but about a half swimmer length in between him and first place.
Schurig from Lexington down here in lane number 2, looking very strong, coming in at a 105.2 seed time.
That's right, and competing very favorably right now for second place if he can find an extra gear here over the last 50.
It's a nice turn by Jamin Howe underwater, coming back here in the last 25.
And he is going to shake and bake.
McFerrin going to swim a PR, season best time there at least. Look at that time drop by Schurig from Lexington, 1:00.09. That's going to go through most likely next weekend.
Yeah, 5-second time drop there for the senior from Lex. Big difference. And McFerrin, 2.5 under his best on the season. So shout out to the sophomore for the Cougars getting it done.
Yeah, he's going to be set up very nicely going into next weekend.
3 heats coming up in event number 13. This is going to be the girls' 100-yard freestyle. And as we get ready for this event, looks like we've got Ross Kuhn standing by with Travis Berardi. Let's throw it down to Trav.
I am here with boys 50 freestyle event winner Ross Kuhn. Ross, you know, multiple sports that you play. Just how do you keep with training with all the sports that you play?
It's pretty hard to keep training-wise. I know there's a lot of people, especially from the Lexington and other swim team, that's all they do is swim all year round. So it's hard to balance a little bit, but I just come in and train hard from day one and see the results at the end of the year.
You have a couple events today. Which event do you think is your strongest?
Probably my 100 backstroke's my stronger event. I was a state qualifier in that as a sophomore, and I really take pride in trying to be as good as I can in that race. So hopefully we see some good times today. And that I know I have a good race from Jacob Hathaway, and that 100 back, he's a stud.
And in the 50 free, you have a feeling that you could have a chance to make state?
Yeah, I think I have a chance. I mean, that's why I decided to swim it. I think I have a chance to make it in both races again. So we'll just see how it goes next week and go from there.
Appreciate the time, Ross. Back up to you, boys.
All right, thank you, Travis and Ross. Ross, a standout in multiple sports for the Cougars, now in his senior season, and I believe a state qualifier in the pool from a year ago, so just looking to improve on that here in his final season in the pool. As we are awaiting heat number 1 of 3 for the girls' 100-yard freestyle. It'll feature a pair of Lady Bulldogs from Crestline, some babies too, Isabella Jeffrey and Kennedy Sipes, and then Deja Brown, the senior from Mansfield Senior. She'll be in lane 2, the Bulldogs respectively in lanes 3 and 4. And I'm not 100% sure what we're waiting on right now, Matt. Maybe Coach Bartholomew just wanted to get in a few handshakes and hugs before we got started here?
It looks like there may be an issue with maybe one of the touch pads, maybe one of the plungers. I don't know, but Frank did get down and go over to lane 5. Yeah, not sure what the holdup here is.
Just enjoying their Saturday afternoon, where it's not often that in February you can show up to work in shorts, Matt. So I'm grateful for the opportunity today. This is great.
You know, that's something I always did as a coach. Is I always wore shorts on deck because it gets so hot here in the natatorium.
No question about it. The 3 swimmers, though, now here in heat number 1 have taken their mark. So we are ready for action in event number 13. The girls' 100-yard freestyle is underway.
The last 4 years, a 100 has gotten out in this event. 3 years ago, though, it took a 58.7 to get out.
Nobody in this first heat likely will be close to that mark, though. When we get to heat number 3, just about every competitor, Matt, should be in the running to try to get out, move on to the round of districts.
Yeah, the biggest thing here in these first couple of heats is maybe they don't have a shot to get out, but you know they always have a shot to swim their best time of the year.
That's what all these young ladies are shooting for, as Jeffrey right now is out in front, but not by much.
She's got her teammate Kennedy Sipes right behind her.
And if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Kennedy also play basketball?
Actually, both her and Ivy Stewart do. Ivy is also swimming as well.
So pretty cool to see some crossover athletes you see from time to time in fall or even spring. Players in 2 different competitions, but it would probably be pretty rare in wintertime, I would suppose. But
it's not something you see a whole lot of.
So let's check the times here. It looks like Jeffrey's actually a shade over her best of the season. Checking in second in lane number 3. Sipes did drop her time.
And Deja Brown as well. Nice time drops for those 2 ladies.
So heat number 2 of 3. Best time so far that's been posted by Ava Perkins. She's in lane 3, the junior from Lexington. Olivia Stutes, just a freshman. She's in lane 4. She's got the second best time. And those 2 far and away have the best seed timing here in this heat. So a full dozen seconds better than the competition. We'll see if that stands true.
Perkins looking very strong early on here. She's out 29:30.
she's going to hit the top in about 45 seconds.
You just look at her legs never stop moving.
So Perkins is going to be just a shade over a minute at 1:01:03.
Both of those swimmers posting season best times.
That's Perkins and Stutz. In third place from lane 5, Cameron Starkey of Crestview. It's her best swim of the year. And now it is time for the main event here. Heat 3 of 3. And there are some studs. Trump Hour, of course, with the best time so far, followed by Olivia Newman.
These two went head-to-head in the 50 free. Trump Power, the MOAC champion in this event. Newman, second at Ohio Cardinal Conference a month ago. Meet record set 7 years ago by Hannah Stevens from Lexington at 52:23.
And I believe Hannah has gone on to do some big things in the pool since the high school level.
That she did. She went on to swim at Missouri and qualified for Olympic trials. And if I'm correct, she finished, I believe, 5th or 6th at trials a few years back.
So Lexington continues to produce some top swimmers, but the top competitor here from Ontario, just a sophomore. Look at Trump Power go as the engine is revving.
That was a great turn she had at that last wall.
She's going to be just a little bit over her season best.
She's not going to sweat that too much because she's going to go through the next weekend and she's going to set herself up nicely for her full taper next week.
Newman a full 3 seconds behind in second place. And then in third from lane 2 was Shelby Keever of Ontario. Everybody in the final heat from Lady Lex or the Lady Warriors. Megan Garver and Alexis Johnson, both just a little bit over 1 minute. So we'll move on to the boys section of this event. Also will contain 3 heats. 3 swimmers competing here in heat number 1 of 3. Bladen Waller, Duncan McLean, and Cannon Wentz. 2 from Ontario. And then lane 2, Waller from Crestline. And this is an interesting event, Matt, for the swimmers and when they elect to go ahead and breathe. I mean, because it can be different for each competitor, right?
Everybody has their own kind of breathing pattern. A lot of times you'll see kids who only breathe to one side, the side they're most comfortable with. You'll see other kids who breathe every 3 strokes or every 5 strokes, and they're breathing to both sides. It really is a personal preference.
So there's really no way to necessarily coach it to where you would say this way of breathing would be better than the rest. It's just whatever you're most comfortable with?
The way that we always taught it, we wanted our kids to breathe to both sides because it helped with the body rolling in the water. In that way, you weren't putting so much stress on one part of your body. But then you look at your top-end swimmers like a Olympic level of Michael Phelps. He only breathes to one side. I mean, it really is a personal preference on what you feel most comfortable with.
All right, we've got Travis Berardi now. He's got another interview lined up. Let's go ahead and throw it down to Travis. What do you got for me, Trav?
I'm here with Olivia Newman from Lexington. She finished second in the 100 free, right behind Bree Trumpauer. How do you think your event went?
Pretty decent. I mean, I am tapering for districts, so I'm looking forward to next week because that's when I'll really be in my mindset and be excited to race next week.
You got some tough competition in this race. Does it help you knowing you have a couple other people that are really fighting for that first spot to get your time down?
Yes, I've been racing Bree ever since I was a little girl, about 6 or 7 years old. So it's exciting to be able to race her and, really put in effort into the race against her.
All right, well, congratulations, and hopefully we'll see you at districts.
Thank you.
Back to you, boys.
All right, thank you, Travis. We're now into Heat 2 of 3 here in the boys' 100-yard freestyle. We've got Carson Ringler in lane 1, Zach Keflis from Mansfield Senior in 2, Ethan Sloan in 3, Reese Vaught in 4, and Mason Tritchu from Lexington in lane 5. The best swimmer so far on this season coming from lane 3, that is the freshman from Lexington.
Sloan seed time at 59.6. He's probably going to be under that.
He is going to touch in at a 56.45, so a nice race here for the 9th grader.
He's going to be very happy with that time, I would imagine. Reese Vaught from Mansfield with a nice time drop, almost 4 seconds there.
That was a good heat. Everybody right around 1 minute or less.
It's going to take, I want to say, a 53 low to get out. Last year it took a 52.8
Wow.
to get out, which that was the fastest it's been in a while.
Well, just about everybody in this final heat that is about to get into the pool is capable of accomplishing that. Jacob Hathaway in lane 3 for Lexington is the best so far. His teammate Tanner Holmes has the second best time, followed by lanes 1 and 2, both Ontario Warriors, both seniors, that Gregory Tan and Will Bolin.
Yeah, Tan was the MOAC champion last month in the 100 freestyle, and Hathaway and Tanner Holmes were 1-2 at the OCC meet. And they look like they're going to run 1-2 here.
Hathaway got about a half body length edge as he makes the final turn. It's a good one, but perhaps an even better turn there in lane 4 as Holmes puts a little pressure on him, but I don't think it's going to be enough as Hathaway checks in with a winning time of 49.42.
He's going to be happy with that time as he gets ready for his taper meet next week. A shade off of the meet record, 47.22, set in 2000 by John Hagg of Ashland.
So 4 swimmers there, sub 52 seconds. Dylan Nicholson with the slowest time in the heat with a 58, so everyone moving pretty good.
And even for Nicholson, that's a time drop from his seed time.
So now we get into the endurance. The girls' 500-yard freestyle. And this, I imagine, this race really pushes you, Matt.
You know, this was always one of my favorite races to coach for a couple different reasons. But one, it's a lot easier to show improvement over the course of 500 yards. And it really is a mental test for kids coming in. It takes a different mindset to swim this race and to swim it well.
Take a look at the competitors here. We will have just one heat because this one's not for the faint of heart, Matt. Not just anybody signs up for the 500 freestyle. And we've got one competitor who is kind of head and shoulders above the rest, that being Natalie Queen, the sophomore from Lexington.
Her time of 5:58.7 should qualify her for the district meet. The last couple of years, it's been 6:04, 6:05, 6:06 that's made it through.
Ava Kramer, the freshman from Mansfield Senior, potentially, if she can swim her best race of the season, could also advance into districts. So far, 6:14 has been her best.
She's going to have to drop some time here, but again, over the course of a 500-yard race, it's a little bit easier to do.
So these ladies all waiting at the starting block. So waiting for the opportunity to jump out there and get after it. And down at the other end of the pool, I always like this, that you have to have a teammate. It's such a long race that they're actually dropping into the water mat and letting you know what lap you're on because it goes on for so long.
Yeah, this race is going to feature 20 lengths of the pool, so at each turn on the other end, you're going to have a teammate putting down odd numbers to let them know what lap they're at.
Looks like we're just about set for this one. We'll have 6 competitors, 4 of them from Lexington competing here. In lane 1, Anna Perkins, Gracie Skoog. In lane 2, Queen is in the 3rd lane. The first 2 ladies I mentioned just freshmen, and there's actually 3 freshmen in this race. Kramer as well as. And then in lane 5, Jaden Deckert from Ontario, and then Abby Stevens from Lexington will be in lane 6.
This is the 15 girls 500-yard freestyle, the 1-of-1.
And do be reminded, folks, that this is a split flight here today. So due to COVID restrictions, we have just 5 teams competing right now. At 4 o'clock, 6 more teams will get into the pool for the same exact events that we are taking you through right now.
You know, it's always interesting when you look at sectionals. You're competing, for spots to move on. You're competing not against just people in your heat, but people in other heats. So then you're competing against other sectional competition. But then throw in this year, you're also competing against multiple flights.
Yes.
Same number of kids, but, as coaches go through and look at times, they have to look at multiple heat sheets, multiple results that they're not used to having to look at to see where their kids sit going into next weekend.
This competition for the fast swimmers typically will take around 6 minutes or so. So if you haven't quite had your lunch yet, or you need an additional cup of coffee to jumpstart your day, maybe go ahead and grab that right now, as only about 1 minute off the clock here in this girls' 500-yard freestyle. So still a long way to go, and I was just offered a sandwich. Unfortunately, probably shouldn't have peanut butter while I'm trying to talk, but it does look tasty, and my director really rubbing it in my face right now, Matt, that he's able to enjoy that.
He looks very excited to be eating that.
Shout out to Mansfield Senior for at least offering us bagels this morning, so that was delicious treats. Not normally much of a breakfast person. What about you, Matt?
I like food at every time of the day, to be honest with you.
Hard to argue with that. Now, obviously, we've heard for generations now, don't get in the pool until at least 30 minutes after eating. How much of that, in your opinion, is true? Should these competitors stay away from some treats before they actually get into competition?
So what we always told our kids, at least for the end of the year, is, we tapered our kids a full 3 weeks, and we told them they had to be really careful of what they ate. It's okay, I think, throughout the season to have certain foods in moderation, but as you start to get into the last week or 2 or 3 weeks of your training, whether you're getting ready for this meet as your taper meet or next week at the district meet, your training volume has gone down significantly. And as a result, you're going to have to eat less, or you're going to be consuming more calories than you're putting in. So, we always told our kids, just be sure you're, being cognizant of what you're putting in your body. You don't want to overindulge anything. But we were never really that strict with our kids.
And I guess if I could take it one step further, that's probably just a life lesson to live by.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of be aware of what you're putting into your body, because at the end of the day, Matt, you do become the food that you eat.
Yeah.
It does become a part of you. So
I will say this, as these kids have trained through, typically Christmas time is the peak volume of their training. they want to eat everything in sight, and that's okay to do because they're burning the calories back off in the pool. But I experienced the same thing with myself through running. When you're doing the mileage, you can almost eat whatever you want, but you're doing less volume at the end of the year. You're getting ready for your big meet. You really got to be careful because you want to make sure you're ready to go when it matters the most.
So for some of these kids that are competing in, say, 4 or 5 events today, will you find a time where you have the biggest gap in between your events and try to squeeze in some quick food, or would you just recommend wait until it's over and then you can load up, carb out after the meet?
Well, typically what we get out of a sectional meet is we're here for 4 or 5 hours, and you have 4 events over the course of 5 hours, so everything is spread out a lot more. Well, with there being 2 different flights today, less number of competitors here. I mean, we only have 1 heat of the 500 for the girls, 2 for the boys, so it's going to be a lot quicker of a meet. To be honest, I don't know what I would tell my kids on a day like today. Typically, what we would tell ours in years past where you have a longer meet is if you want to put a snack, some lunch meat together, have a small sandwich after a race, it's fine to do that. Because you don't want to go on an empty stomach.
Looks like we've got 3 competitors right now on lap number 17. That's what those cards indicate down at the end of the pool that their teammates are showcasing for them, dipping them underwater, as you mentioned, during the odd laps.
Now you hear at the end here Natalie Queen in lane number 3 with the official ringing the bell. That's notifying her and everybody else in the natatorium that Natalie's on her final lap here.
So Natalie flat out blitzing the competition. And she was the favorite heading into today's event.
Meet record in this event was held by Michelle Brim back in 1996 at a 5:11.82.
Oh, wow.
Queen won't be quite at that point, but she's going to set herself up to go to Bowling Green next weekend as she comes in at about a 5:51.
Excellent time posted here by Natalie Queen. It's certainly her best so far of her sophomore campaign. And now we've got our second swimmer who is in. And a full 9 seconds behind Queen in lane number 4 was Ava Kramer.
It's a nice time drop of 6 seconds there for Kramer. Gracie Skoog in lane number 2 with a nice 8-second time drop for her.
And I'm told Travis Berardi is going to catch up with Natalie Queen, who probably needs a good couple seconds to catch her breath.
Yeah, she's going to need some time to get her heart rate down there. That was a nice race she swam there.
6 minutes of non-stop swimming just seems like a chore, especially moving at that pace.
Anna Perkins up there, or down here on lane 1, posting a 6:47. That's a 14-second time drop for her.
So the last remaining competitor in the pool from Lexington, Abby Stevens.
Her seed time was an 8:02.05. She's going to have a nice time drop as she comes to finish this 20th length of the pool.
Yeah, probably the biggest time drop here in the field. Yeah, she checks in at a 7:37, so congratulations to the senior. Her best time of the year by a long shot.
It's by 25 seconds there for her.
It looks like we're just about ready we're going to have 2 heats actually for the boys. 500-yard freestyle. Heat number 1 is going to feature 3 swimmers. Lane 2, Eddie Devaney from Lexington. Hunter Pettit from Ontario is in lane 3. And Preston Hunter from Mansfield Senior in lane 4. The best time, of course, always belonging to lane 3. That the sophomore with a 5:59. So he would have to drop some time to do what Natalie just did.
The last 4 years, the last time into the district competition has been 541, 546, 550, and then all of a sudden last year, 533.8 was the last time. So you don't quite know what you're going to get out of the 500 freestyle.
Yeah, you're right. That's a significant difference between a 550 and then a 533.
That's 17 seconds over the course of 1 year. That's incredible. But, you know, you got kids who graduate, kids who come up as freshmen. Some kids switch their events from year to year, what they want to swim at the end of the year. So you kind of have a ballpark figure on where you think a qualifying time will be, but it's never exact.
In our second heat of this event, pretty much everybody should be in line to move on to Bowling Green, though, Matt. We have got some fierce competitors with Starling, Wyatt, Eldridge, and McFerrin. All should probably break that 5.5-minute mark.
Yeah, we saw McFerrin have a real nice swim, I believe, in the 200 free earlier in the meet. And then you have Wyatt, who was second at the Ohio Cardinal Conference meet, Starling, who was third. Those two have to have a lot of fun in training sessions together when you have two 500 swimmers that are 504 and 508.
What an advantage for each to be able to have somebody that's comparable to their time, that can push you in training and try to help you maximize your full potential. As it looks like we do have Queen coming over for an interview. So we will throw it down to Travis Berardi. Travis, take it away.
Back here with Natalie Queen, the winner of the 500. Just what training does it go into doing these long-distance races?
Well, we do lots of yardage at practice, and while we're doing practices, our coach always tells us to try and keep the paces that we're going to go in our race, so that's kind of how we prepare for that event.
You hit a sub-6-minute time today. Probably going to be good enough for districts, but what's the mark that you want them to try and make state?
To try and make state, I would have to drop probably like 20 seconds or so, but I think going into districts, this will be a really good time for me to try and go in the 540s.
All right, well, thank you, Natalie. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Travis. Thank you, Natalie. So she's at least a realist. She knows what she faces if she wants to make it to state competition. Dropping 20 seconds that event, Matt. We did just see a couple competitors that had some slower times able to accomplish that feat. But for somebody who swims as fast as Natalie, how possible would you say that is?
I mean, it's certainly possible. That kind of a time drop for somebody who is already in the 550 range, it's tough to do. I mean, she's already dropped 7 seconds off of her best in-season time. I mean, I don't want to say anything is, not possible for happening because, I certainly have seen things over the years where big drops like that happen, but it is a lot tougher.
Well, in the words of Kevin Garnett, anything is possible, Matt. So we'll see how Natalie does moving forward. But for right now, we're on to the boys in the pool for the 500-yard freestyle. And already mentioned the three competitors that are in the pool, headlined by Hunter Pettit in the middle, the sophomore from Ontario.
Meet record here was back in 2004. Jeff Montag of Ashland at a 4:55.55.
Wow.
That's moving.
Now that definitely would get you to state.
That's moving.
So we've got a pretty good race going here between Pettit and then in lane 4, Preston Hunter from Mansfield Senior. Only about a swimmer's length behind, as this is lap number 7 of a scheduled 20. Just about 2 minutes gone by here. And there are 2 heats here, folks. the next, as we talked about already, we'll have those couple of speedsters from Lexington rounded out by Avery Eldridge and McFerrin from Crestview. So that's going to be a fun competition when heat number 2 gets into the pool.
I said McFerrin had swam earlier in the meet in the 200 free. He had actually swam in the 100 butterfly and had a nice drop earlier. As he gets ready to come up in this next heat from Crestview.
Checking in now on the Facebook feed. Pulling up the comment section here to see what's going on with all you fans out there watching. I see we got close to 100 people all tuning in at the same time, so we do appreciate your viewership. So go ahead, keep dropping us lines, and we could feature your comment on today's Fan Zone. So let us know where you're watching from, who are you cheering for, and how are you spending this Valentine's weekend? This is my anniversary weekend, Matt, so I probably should get a couple of ideas generated here. Send me some ideas.
It's Valentine's Day weekend?
Yep. Oh, man.
Yes, I knew that.
Of course we all remembered.
I knew that, yes.
Of course I already have plans set up,
When I figure mine out, I'll let you know.
And I do see a few of you letting us know that interviews during fast heats probably are not a good idea, so we will not do that again, folks. And would like to give a shout out to Park National Bank as well, who may have changed their name from Richland Bank, but they have not changed their policies. All together now under one name. Park National Bank is the exclusive sponsor for today's event, helping us bring you this coverage live and free on the OH.Report as we are into event number 16 now in our first of 2 flights today, so plenty more swimming coverage still on the menu. As there is that bell, Matt, so
Pettit coming down to the last 2 lengths here.
Then our other swimmers,
they're making their final turn for home as well.
Yeah, close behind. This has been a pretty good first heat, but definitely starting to create some distance in between he and the competition is Hunter Pettit. And it'll just be now a question for Hunter. Is he going to have his best time of the year?
I think he's going to obliterate it here. 5:59.14 coming in. He's going to break the 5:50 barrier.
Attaboy, Hunter. So we'll wait for the official time, but certainly smoked his PR for the season.
Preston Hunter come in up in lane 4 for Mansfield, breaking 6 minutes. That's a PR by a lot for him. Devaney down here as well for Lexington with a big time drop.
That's interesting to me. You think that the pool has anything to do, a significant difference in terms of the time, Matt, or do you just think it's the stage and kids tend to save their best for when the competition matters the most?
It's a lot of different things wrapped up into one, but some pools are built to be faster than others. When you look at how the gutters are on the outside of the pool temperature, typically the colder the pool, the faster it is. It's never just one thing. But some pools are built faster than others.
How would you rate this one here at Malabar? What tends to be the opinion about how fast this pool is?
A lot of coaches in the area think Malabar is one of the fastest pools in this area.
I know when Frank was coaching over here, they did have like a gaudy streak going. I remember the Tigers in their head-to-head matchups. They won like 50 or 60 in a row, so perhaps.
It was something insane like that.
Crazy, isn't it?
Actually, I found this out a few years back when they originally built this pool. The starting blocks were down at the other end of the pool.
I wonder why the change. So here is the second and the faster of the two heats here this, well, it's afternoon now. And the swimmers to keep an eye on, as mentioned, the two teammates, the junior and senior for the Minutemen in lanes 3 and 4, that being Wyatt and Starling. Now, when coaching this event, Matt, I'm sure it can be tempting to come out of the gates hot, try to get ahead of the competition. At about what lap do you tell kids that they can really kind of unload the tank, so to speak?
We always try to get our kids to focus on settling in, especially that first 50, because like you just said, you want to come out of the gate hot, but you can't have a good swim in the first 50 can't make for a good swim, but it can make for a bad swim if you come out too fast. We always told our kids that last 200, last 150, let it rip. Go to your legs, try to hold off the legs for maybe the first 250, 300 yards, and then from that point forward, let your legs do the work and open it up.
So we've got a highly competitive battle going on here in lanes 3 and 4 as we anticipated. Wyatt with a slim margin right now over his teammate Starling, and that's been the story so far this year. About 4 seconds is the difference in between these two competitors, both pretty good at a 5:08 and a 5:04 respectively so far during the season. Again,
both of these guys last month at the Ohio Cardinal Conference meet were both 2 and 3 respectively in this event. That's meet where the Lexington boys team won the Ohio Cardinal Conference.
Something that they do pretty much every year, is that right?
It's generally between them and Worcester, and both have very, very strong programs year in, year out.
Now, Worcester has an excellent facility. I imagine they have to be hosting tournament action, correct?
Actually, this is, I believe, the first year where they are hosting a sectional. I was looking through Meet Mobile yesterday and saw that the University of Akron did not look like they were hosting a meet yesterday. And it looked like a lot of those schools that were typically there were swimming at Worcester.
Over the midway point here of this event. Lap number 11 is what your eyeballs are feasting on right now. Got some decent times going. Still not even the 3-minute mark. As Wyatt makes his turn. Starling now starting to fall behind just a little bit. About a couple of swimmers' bodies length in between him and first place. And then McFerrin in third. A distant third at this point. And Avery Eldridge in fourth place up in lane 2.
You really look at what Jaden Wyatt does underwater here off of every turn and how deep he's getting, and Lucas Starling the same thing. Look at how deep they're getting off the turn. They're really saving their strokes for themselves. Look how he gets deep. He's not coming up until past the flags. He's saving himself probably 2 strokes every length of the pool. and is swimming very efficiently.
From watching and being a big fan of Olympic swimming, it always seems like the swimmers, they can stay underwater the longest, Matt, and keep kicking and save those few strokes, like you said, typically are the best of the best.
In high school swimming, you could stay under to the 15-yard mark. And as you get to your higher levels of swimming, you'll see a lot more of that kid staying underwater for a lot longer.
Well, we just got a little bit more cowbell here as we're just about to go over 5 minutes, and this is the final stretch here for Jaden Wyatt. Doesn't look like he's going to break his season best time. Matter of fact, he won't, but he is going to win this competition with a 5:07.73, followed closely behind by his teammate with a 5:11, that being Lucas Starling. Here comes McFerrin about to touch in third. He's got a 5:19. And, man, a highly competitive race here as Eldridge is done as well. Oh, excuse me, that was Eldridge who touched in third place.
The way our heat sheets are reading and the way the pool is set up.
It's got me all backwards and
I know,
twisted,
man.
Matt.
It's got me a couple times today as well.
My director said, why don't you just look at the pretty graphics that I have placed on your screen, and that'll make it easier on you, and he's not wrong.
Well, you look at Jaden Wyatt and Lucas Starling, they were over their seed times coming in, but those guys, neither one of them are in racing suits. Neither one of them are capped up. They're not shaved for this meet. That's coming next week. Nice time drop there by Eldridge from Lexington, as well as McFerrin from Crestview.
And it looks like these gentlemen are going to get a little cool down in the pool.
With that time drop, McFerrin should be safe to make it through the next weekend at a 5:25. And Eldridge as well at a 5:19.
When the competitors do hop out the pool and catch their breath, we are going to line up an interview with Jaden Wyatt. Talk to the senior about his race, his season, and expectations moving forward, as we assume he's going to qualify for district competition. And Matt, looking at the times here, I think everybody in that heat probably is going to move on and be competing at Bowling Green.
Yeah, they're all going to make it through with 5:07, 5:11, 5:19, 5:25. All of those times will go on. The fastest that field has been in the last 4 years. The fastest, or the last time to get through was last year to 5:33.8. So that 5:25 should be pretty safe to make it in.
So an excellent group that you just saw there in our second heat of the finals. The boys' 500-yard freestyle, won by Wyatt. Coming up next, event number 17. We've got just one heat for the girls' 200-yard freestyle relay. Lexington, Ontario, and Mansfield Senior will all be going toe-to-toe there. Ontario has been dynamite at that event so far this year. And then the boys will be the same exact trio of schools and, well, basically the same seedings as well, except for Lexington, just a touch better than Ontario so far this year in the 200-yard freestyle relay.
As we look at the girls' competition there, Ontario will be in the middle of the pool. They are the MOAC champions in the 200 freestyle event, and their seed time is faster than the sectional meet record that was set by Carl Crawford 3 years ago, so that should be something to watch there. Lexington girls 200 free relay, they were second at their conference meet last month, and then on the boys' side, same thing there. Lexington was second at the Ohio Cardinal Conference meet. Ontario won the MOAC in that event, so it should be two fun relays to watch there.
And here is the schedule of events. As next up, as we mentioned, the menu will feature the 200-yard freestyle relay for both the ladies and the gentlemen. And looks like we've got a real treat coming up for you folks watching live and free on the OH Report on both Facebook and YouTube. None other than Lexington head coach Brock Sperling is joining us now. He is standing by poolside with Travis. Take it away, Trav.
I'm now joined by Lexington swim coach Brock Sperling. Coach, how do you think your swimmers are doing so far?
So far, so well. I'm pleased with where we're at. I think it's kind of, nobody knew what to expect coming in here. This is a different format. It's been a totally different year for the last 11 months. Splitting our sectional in half, we weren't sure how it's going to be. To be 2 hours into the meet, and now we have 4 events left. It's crazy how quickly this has gone. This is something I don't think any of us knew what to expect, but I'm pleased with where we're at. Everybody's had interruptions throughout the course of the year with contact tracing, kids testing positive for COVID, not being able to get typical meets in throughout the course of the season, not being able to do training trips, things like that. All things considered, I'm very pleased with where we're at for right now.
Going back to the split session for the sectional, just how have you guys prepared for that? Because you're going to face a couple schools that aren't in this first set of heats. Time-wise, how do you guys just get prepared with that? That, you might have 2 heats going on this afternoon, 2 heats this evening, and maybe nobody makes it from the first set.
So looking at it, we knew that we went from 5 sectionals last year, and they split everything in half. So we're going from 5 to 10 sectionals. And, the message to the kids all week has been, you're just not racing the people in Flight 1 here at Malabar. You got 9 other flights to contend with. And just because you're winning your race, you can't be satisfied about it because you've got 9 other sectionals that you don't control what's going on. And so at the end of the day, we're racing the scoreboard. We're racing the clock. And, hopefully if we're fortunate, we can get as many, relays top 24, as many individuals top 32, and, advance the Bowling Green next Friday.
Lexington, year in, year out, you guys are competing down at state. You guys are really competing in districts. Just with COVID and everything, has that changed any of the complexion of how this squad has been this year?
The focus and the goals are the same. Finishing last year, I've got a very senior heavy squad. I've got 15 seniors. And so when you have 15 seniors that have been there, they know what the goals are. They know what the plan is. And it's been awesome to see them, work for those goals. And, on the boys' side, hey, compete for an OCC title. We ended up getting that. Girls were second, and we swam Worcester about as well as we absolutely could. So, we've hit those check marks as a squad. And now we're into those next team goals. And it's swim today and get as many kids to Bowling Green next week. And, I'm happy with where we're at. Everything that we've set as goals for a team, we've hit the check mark for, and that's the plan, moving forward. So having 15 seniors, it helps to bring those underclassmen along, show them the ropes, show them, how we do things, all right, show them the LSD way. And, these seniors learned it from those that were before them, and these seniors have now passed it down to the younger kids. So it just, the kids look up to one another. It doesn't start in the high school. It doesn't start in the winter. It starts in the summer. And, you see these kids that when they're little, they look up to the high school kids. Hey, I want to be like this kid. I want to be like that kid. And, this year it's like the kids that I had in the summer, they want to be like Ben Starling. They want to be like Jacob Hathaway. All right. And, you get those kids interested at a young age. You develop that feeder program, get them up through the junior high. You get to the high school, and then you can see, success, results, things like that.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Coach. Good luck the rest of today and at District.
Oh, thank you, Travis.
Back to you guys.
So times may change, but expectations never do for Lexington Swim and Dive, who always are competitive here in our area, win the OCC just about every year, and always very competitive here in sectional competition as well. So appreciate the time there with Brock Sperling, who maybe for this afternoon session, Matt, we can get him to jump on the mic here with us. Help, lead the way, drop some knowledge. I know that he's wildly connected with a lot of the different swimmers and the competitors that we have here this afternoon, and it's always refreshing and cool to hear from him just how seriously yet strategically and fun his program takes everything. And I love that he mentioned that it doesn't start at the beginning of the season. What are you doing in the summer months? Because ultimately I think that's where you see the kids that are really moving on and looking at the state competition. That's where that they get real good.
Yeah, it certainly does start in the summer. It doesn't start in November. It starts with conditioning in September. It starts with what you've done in your summer swim program, and it's about building a culture wherever whatever school you're at, whatever program you're with, and getting a mindset of we train in the summer, we train early in the fall, and it leads to this point in the year right here.
We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial timeout as we are more than halfway through flight number 1 of 2 here in the Northwest District's Sectional Championship Swimming. Will return here on the OH Report, as always, live and free. Don't worry about no paywalls with us. We'll be back in just a minute.
Lender, craftsman, dog dead. We're more than our job titles, and you're more than an account number. The personal attention we provide comes from a promise to serve you with respect and compassion. By being responsive to your questions and taking time to understand your needs and goals, we give you more than just a place to bank. That's the more you can expect from Park National Bank. Find John or a banker near you at parknationalbank.com. Park National Bank, where you mean more.
No paywalls, just live sports. Exclusively on the OH.Report.
before you had a chance to miss us. Brian Skowronski along with Matt Wade this afternoon at the Division II Sectional Swimming Championships. And we are on to event number 17, the girls 200-yard freestyle relay. Ontario in lane 3, Lexington lane 4, and Mansfield Senior right now in third place in lane number 5. And making the turn there, looks like Ontario got a nice lead here, Matt, as we kind of expected.
They do, the defending MOAC champions in this event. Off to a great start, first 2 legs here.
Third swimmer in the pool and got a full body's length in between them and Lady Lex in second place. Though it looks like they're closing the gap a little bit here. So we are in for a fun finish with our final swimmers getting ready for their dismount into the pool. Lady Warriors now starting to pull away from the competition.
Qualifying times the last couple of years to make it out. Last year was one of the slower years at 1:55.07 was the time that got out. Typically it's been 1:51 high, 1:52 low.
Both Lex and Ontario in well below that. Lady Warriors with a time of 1:44.18. And Tigers just over the 2-minute mark at a 2 minutes .97.
Nice little time drop for them there.
Lexington also dropped their time in their events. Ontario a little bit over their best of the season, 3 seconds to be exact. And we're going to see the exact same 3 teams compete in the boys division. After, what do we got here? Quick cool down?
Apparently so.
And we have been waiting for the adult swim time, Matt. I wonder when they're going to let us have our opportunity to jump in and show what we can do.
I'm going to stay dry.
I did wear shorts today here to work. I think pretty much half of my crew did, so uniquely prepared today for a February sporting event in Ohio. I'm having a good time wearing shorts for the first time. I had to dig deep in the closet. I had forgot where I even packed these things at.
I think it's been October since the last time I put on a pair of shorts.
Definitely been a while for me too. So these kids, I mean, they just had the 15 minutes to get in the pool. Any reason why they would allow this right now?
I'll be honest. Right now, your guess is as good as mine. Why it comes between both relays. I do have a guess to that, actually. If there were any boys that were in the 500 freestyle and now they're coming right back into that relay, they're just giving those boys maybe a little bit more time to recover, because again, typically you see multiple heats of the 500, multiple heats of both free relays that you don't have this year.
Yeah, just 3 teams and the same 3 teams competing in both the boys and the girls final here today, that being Ontario, Lexington, and Mansfield Senior, where we just saw the Lady Warriors come away with victory. Assume they're going to be moving on to the round of districts. And then for the boys, Lexington is the favorite. They've got the best time of the season at 1:33, but Ontario not too far behind with a 1:35. So we expect those 2 teams to kind of go toe-to-toe, battle it out here for the championship here, this sectional.
Yeah, the qualifying time in this event the last 2 years has been a 1:39, 1:39 low, 1:39 high, last 2 years respectively. Ontario and Lexington should be pretty comfortable getting in that Mansfield, coming in at a 1:40.32. They're right on the cusp of being the last team to get in, so that's going to be a time to watch as they go off here.
Yeah, certainly the TY Tigers then I think would be the team to keep an eye on. Can they chop a second or two off of their time and try to squeeze their way into the district, as we assume that both Ontario and Lex are going to make their way on to Bowling Green. So keep an eye on the TY Tigers here in lane number 5, as it appears that we are just about set for our only heat here of the boys freestyle relay. 200 yards to be precise. And they are getting ready for the starting blocks.
200-yard freestyle relay, 1 of 1.
I mean, very equal start for all three. See who makes the best turn here. Looks like Ontario and Lex pretty much neck and neck, as are Mansfield Senior. I mean, we've got a great race going on as the second competitors all into the pool, and the Warriors now with just a slim lead. Lexington right behind them, but the Tigers still very much in the mix.
Very nice first leg for all three schools there to lead off this relay.
The first third leg into the pool is going to be from Lex. But a great turn there for the Warriors. Kind of slims down the gap. Lexington only about a half second ahead. Their seed time, full 2 seconds better than the Warriors' best this year. But perhaps this is where they start creating some distance between them and the field. Because anytime you see a swimmer with a fully shaved head, Matt, you know they mean business.
They are fully tapered at that point, and that's going to be a good time for them. Mansfield, we said coming in,
nice,
that they were going to have to be 139-ish to make it out. They're 137.7. That should be very safe to make it out to next weekend for the Tigers.
Yeah, and I see a lot of smiles over there on the Mansfield Senior faces, so I think that they felt like they did about what they needed to do to try to get into the next level of competition, and that, of course, is their best on the year, so congratulations to Mansfield Senior for swimming a great time.
After all sectionals are swam today, swimmeet.com will post district qualifiers tomorrow. I believe they post them by noon. And again, they'll take the top 24 relays from all the sectionals, as well as the top 32 individuals from every sectional. And we have 5 sectional locations, all with 2 flights each, 2 up at Ayersville, 2 at Lima, 2 at Oak Harbor, 2 at Fremont, and the 2 here at Mansfield.
And I see that we do have our fan zone up and running on our screen, so go ahead, drop us a line. We'd love to include your comments about how you're taking in today's sectional swimming championships at the Division II level here at Malabar. Let us know who you're cheering on, where you're watching from, how are you watching. You're watching on your TV, smartphone, tablet, PC. And I always love to see people outside of the great state of Ohio. Just saw somebody watching from Nevada, and that probably my favorite part about doing the live streams, Matt, is always seeing people who are commenting and saying, so happy that I could watch my grandson or cousin or nephew or my old team compete as they're out in Arizona, or, you know, sometimes we even get international viewership here on the OH.Report, so it's awesome.
It's really nice, especially, you know, given what we've been through in the last 11 months with, you know, sporting events getting canceled and, you know, limited spectators or no spectators in this case, just to be able to, you know, tune in on your smartphone or on your tablet, what have you, to be able to watch your loved ones compete, and that's just awesome to be able to have that ability to do so.
And it's always awesome to bring it to you guys live and free on the OH.Report. No need to swipe your card for $9.99 like some of the other guys around here. Just tune in, right in the palm of your hand, free of charge. Come and go as you please. And our videos are always on demand on both Facebook and YouTube. And then also check out OH.Report website, just www.oh.report. And we have team pages for, I believe, everybody who's competing today. Certainly everybody who's in this first flight. We have a team page for Lexington, Mansfield Senior, Crestview, Ontario, Crestline as well. So if you're a fan of any of these teams and you want to see what they've been up to competing in sports throughout the year, you can go to the OH.Report website, click on their team page, and you can find all sorts of goodies. I see our crew trying to get creative now as we are busting out the GoPros. Try to get some unique perspective for you folks. Moving on now to, what do we got here? Event number 19. This is going to be the girls' 100-yard backstroke. We'll have 2 heats here. First one will feature a complement of athletes. Ivy Stewart, no time posted, so looks like the Crestline Senior competing for the first time in this event all year. Is that right?
It may be the, we talked about Ivy. She also plays basketball for Crestline, and with a limited number of meets this year, it's possible that she just hasn't swam it yet.
So Ivy will be competing against Christy Sweeney of Mansfield Senior and Lane 3, Abby Stevens of Lexington, all 12th graders. So this is their last opportunity at sectionals here today. We've got a slight holdup here at the starting blocks. See some guys coming by with some tubs. Not sure what's inside the contents of those tubs, Matt, but evidently it was needed to be from one end of the pool to the other.
Yeah, not quite sure there, Brian.
All right, now let's check back in down at the starting blocks for heat number 1 of 2 and event number 19.
Girls center backstroke here, you're going to have to be about a 107 high, 108 low to have a shot to make it through the next weekend. The meet record in this event held by Hannah Stevens at 58.11, set back in 2014.
Hannah Stevens got a few records here at the sectional meet.
That she does.
Right now, we've got a good race going on between lanes 3 and 4. Sweeney and Stevens. Slight edge right now in favor of the Mansfield Senior. So here they come down the back stretch of the backstroke. Final several yards. Christie's top time on the year is a 1:33. She's going to be well under that.
That she is, 1:27. That's a good time. Good time drop. Same thing for Abby Stevens. They're coming in at 1:32.
So we're just waiting on Ivy Stewart to finish. And if you haven't qualified with a time yet, Matt, how do you get to compete in sectionals? How was Ivy able to do this?
Well, I think one thing that the district probably looked at this year is, maybe schools haven't had the chance to swim as many meets as they normally would, given the restrictions that are going on. So it just may be an event she just hasn't swam yet.
Official time for Ivy Stewart at 1:59.88. As we're moving on to heat number 2 of 2. The top dog here is going to be Shelby Keever from Ontario. She's a junior. Next best competition going to be in lane 4. Next to her, that's Kayla McFadden, the senior for Lady Lex. Clarissa Cosart and Zeta Anderson are going to be opposite sides of them in lanes 2 and 5. And then Esri Farley, the freshman from Ontario, lane 6. Zoe Cannon here the closest in lane number 1. So what kind of time are they looking at, Matt, if they're trying to get on to districts here?
I think you're going to have to be probably about a high 107, low 108. That time has been pretty consistent the last 4 years. You've been 109, 108, 107, 108. So I'm gonna have a couple swimmers here who are right around that area.
So far, Keever and McFadden, the only 2 so far this year that have been able to flirt with those times, as they are awaiting permission to jump in and get ready for heat number 2 here of the girls' 100-yard backstroke. And sometimes, Matt, do they wait for some of the ripples or the currents to kind of settle down in the pool, or how much do they actually analyze that, and does that even matter?
I don't know if they ever really wait for that specifically. But by the time each person touches the pad, the scores table up there, they have to be able to bring all the times in on the console and give the thumbs up for the next event to go.
So here we go. Every lane full here for this second heat. Always exciting when there's competitors from top to bottom here in the pool.
Shelby Keever, the top seed in this event. She was second at the MOAC last month in the 100 backstroke. She's going to be out in a low 31.
Big lead here in lane number 3.
It's a nice underwater by Shelby Keever. Coming off the last turn there, she comes for home. 105.7 her seed time. She is going to be under that. She's going to break the 105 mark.
And then we've got a 108 coming from lane 4, that being McFadden. So those are the 2 times that we feel could potentially move on to the districts.
Keever should be moving on there. McFadden, it's going to be close. She's put herself in a spot there to have a chance to move on, and we'll just have to see what the other sectionals post.
Third place here, Clarissa Cosart. Just a freshman from Lexington, so a bright future ahead of her. In 4th, coming from lane 5, that was Anderson.
You see time drops on every swim there from all 6 of those swimmers.
Including Esri Farley, who finished in 6th for Ontario. As we're going to move on to event number 20 now, the boys 100-yard backstroke. Three Lexington swimmers in lanes 2, 3, and 4, that being Matthew Ward, Scott Bartlett, and Eddie Devaney. And then on the outsides in lanes 1 and 5, Matteo Michelini and Cooper Stiegel.
The last 2 years in this event, 103.8 and 103.7 have been the last qualifying times out onto the district meet. Meet record here, Stephen Rice, 54.4 back in 1996. That record has stood quite a while. As we look to the next heat, Jacob Hathaway, the defending OCC champ, his seat time is faster than the meet record.
So could be seen a bit of history in heat number 2 here. I see we're adding to our fan zone that we do have some international viewership going down right now, Matt. So,
all right.
Well, welcome to the broadcast all the way from overseas. Pretty cool. And touching in first. Don't have an official time yet. Wait for the scoreboard to update. Looks like it might be Preston Hunter from Mansfield Senior. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, looking at the wrong heat here.
We had some pads that didn't register here.
There we go. So now it's up there. I thought lane 3 was in there first, and it's going to be the freshman from Lex, Scott Bartlett.
We've got personal bests or season best times anyway across the board there. Nice job by those 5 swimmers.
This here, the main event here of this flight. And the swimmers to keep an eye on, certainly. You touched on Hathaway, the junior from Lex, and then Ross Kuhn in lane number 4. Rounding out the competition, Reese Vaught and Colin Cordray in lanes 1 and 2.
Cordray, he's the defending MOAC champ in this event from last month. Hathaway, again, won the OCC 4 weeks ago. And then Ross Kuhn down there in lane 4. Did not have a conference meet to compete in, but he is a former state qualifier in this event.
He is just a fraction behind here as they make the turn. Kuhn pops up again, right behind Hathaway.
Both those guys out very quickly here. Very solid underwater there by Ross Kuhn coming out of the last turn.
See if we have some history here with Hathaway.
I think he's going to be just over that, but still an incredible time of 54.7. Kuhn coming in at 56.3.
And the other 2 competitors over a minute. As we've got Cordray in 3rd and Vaught in 4th place.
Cordray is going to be safe to move on. Vaught up there is 104.5. That time has gone through in years past. 2017, 2018, that time has gotten out, so he's going to be right there as you look at sectionals from around the Northwest District.
I heard it was just announced that we're taking a 3-minute break, so we'll go ahead and take one more commercial timeout. We'll be right back with the girls' 100-yard breaststroke.
Lender, craftsman, dog dead. We're more than our job titles, and you're more than an account number. The personal attention we provide comes from a promise to serve you with respect and compassion. By being responsive to your questions and taking time to understand your needs and goals, we give you more than just a place to bank. That's the more you can expect from Park National Bank. Find John or a banker near you at parknationalbank.com. Park National Bank, where you mean more.
No paywalls, just live sports.
Lender.
Back here at Malabar with the winner of the boys 100 backstroke, Jacob Hathaway. And Jacob, you just missed the sectional record by 0.3. Talk about your meet. Talk about your race.
Overall, I thought it was good. I like these blocks here, so I didn't have a bad start. Towards the end, I was drifting side to side, but I'm happy with it.
Going up against somebody like Ross Kuhn from Crestview, did that help you, get your pace?
Yeah, it's always fun racing someone next to you, having someone pushing you, wanting to beat them. So.
Also, with this being a split sectional this year because of COVID, not knowing even if you win your race that it may not be enough to be the top of the other one, did having somebody that would help you compete, help get you to that time that could get you the district?
Yeah, I mean, you're always just racing the clock, hoping for the best you can get. So I think it helps overall, but yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much. We'll send it back up to the boys for the next race.
All right, thank you, Travis, and congratulations to Jacob Hathaway for an outstanding performance, almost the best that we've ever seen in the history of this event. So pretty good stuff there as we are now into event number 21, the girls' 100-yard breaststroke. We'll have 2 heats. This, of course, the first. In lane 2, we've got Cheryl Knabb, Ellie Nikolai in lane 3, and Haley Damron in lane 4.
Ellie Nikolai looking really strong coming down to the finish here. As is Haley Damron.
So Nikolai right at about her season best as she checks in first.
It's going to be a season best time for all 3 of those swimmers.
Then in the second heat, we are going to have 6 competitors, folks. So we will have a full pool. Lexington going to be well represented. They have 3 swimmers in there in lane 6, Devaney Schuyler. Lane 5 belongs to Ontario. That's Amy Evans, Lily Weeks from Lex in lane 4. Tiffany Whitaker of Ontario is in first there from lane number 3. She has the best time heading into today. Megan Garver in lane number 2, the senior for Lady Lex, and then Madeline Kramer, lane number 1, just a sophomore for Mansfield Senior. And this is an interesting stroke here. Tell me about some of the technique that goes into the breaststroke, if you could kind of break it down for me, Matt.
Well, breaststroke is such, like you said, such a unique stroke. As we look across the pool, and you can see this at whether it's this level or higher levels, you see so many different ways that kids swim it. Some kids bring their hands up out of the water. Some will keep them underneath the water as they come up and finish their pull. It's, there's a saying that some people are swimmers and some people are breaststrokers, and they're 2 different things. breaststrokers are more so born, I would say, and not made.
Interesting take there. And taking first in the heats, Tiffany Whitaker, who was the favorite coming in. She's just a little bit above her season best, followed up in second place by Weeks, as expected. And then third place coming from lane 5, that was Amy Evans.
Devaney and Kramer on the outside lanes. Nice time drops for those ladies.
Who's looking at potentially moving on to districts there?
I tell you what, Kramer put herself in a good spot with that 115. The last two years have been a 117 and 119 respectively that have gotten out.
Heat number 1 for the boys in the 100-yard breaststroke into the pool. Crestline's Thomas Clark is in lane 2. Duncan McLean, lane 3 from Ontario. And Mansfield Senior's Jordan Elder rounds out this opening heat.
Meet record in this event by Joshua Fate back in 2000 is a 57.61. Now the last 3 years have been relatively consistent with times that have gotten out. 110.8, 110.1, and 110.4. So right around that area is where you want to be if you have a shot to get out to next weekend.
And we'll see in heat number 2, plenty of competitors. Matter of fact, all 6 should be in the mix to move on with those style of times. As here in this first heat, McLean, the sophomore, might be the closest, though he's got to get booking here down the stretch.
His seed time coming in at 1:15.2.
This could be his best.
He's going to be a full 3 seconds better than his seed time. That's a nice time drop for him. Elder up there in lane number 4 with a nice time drop as well.
Now Clark here in lane number 2. It's going to be a little bit slower than his season best, but he is in. As we get prepared for heat number 2, and Ben Starling, he's been the star so far when he's been in the pool, and looking for another win here out of lane number 3. Next to him will be Evan Trumpauer. Those 2 times of their best only separated by about a half second, so those are definitely going to be the 2 that you would think would probably finish 1 or 2 here. Chase Blackstone from Mansfield Senior is in lane 2. And Lexington with a couple of swimmers in lanes 5 and 6. Vincent Morando, Isaac McFadden. Lex with a freshman, Ivan Prekodko in lane 1.
Yeah, and you want to be 110 or better if you want a shot to get out here. Ben Starling and Chase Blackstone were 2 and 3 respectively at the Ohio Cardinal Conference Championships last month. Evan Trumpauer finished 2nd in the MOAC in this event last month. We got a pretty good race shaping up here.
Yeah, we do. 3 swimmers all pretty much neck and neck and neck here. Looks like Starling actually trailing just a bit, so could get a mini upset with Trumpauer right now in the lead, but here comes Starling. How about the finish?
Starling closed awfully fast that last 15 yards.
Wow. It looked to me for sure like Evan Trumpauer was going to come away the victor here, and then Starling, he just found that extra gear, put the foot on the gas, and just burned by him, and it was a close finish, but he did get him by about a half second.
He really picked up his stroke rate the last 15 yards. You look at across the times across the board there, and all of those are going to be safe to move on to next weekend.
We have 5 minutes till the next race. 5 minutes.
So we're going to have another 5-minute wait here before we're allowed to continue competition. Yep, but we are down to just the 400-yard freestyle relay for both the ladies and the gentlemen, and that will wrap up flight number 1 here in our sectional swimming championships Division II style. We'll step away one more time. We'll be back with those final 2 races, wrap up flight number 1.
Lender, craftsman, dog dead. We're more than our job titles, and you're more than an account number. The personal attention we provide comes from a promise to serve you with respect and compassion. By being responsive to your questions and taking time to understand your needs and goals, we give you more than just a place to bank. That's the more you can expect from Park National Bank. Find John or a banker near you at parknationalbank.com. Park National Bank, where you mean more.
No paywalls, just live sports. Exclusively on the OH.Report.
Back here at Malabar with Ontario head coach Debbie Henry. And coach, how do you think you guys are doing thus far?
We're doing really well. All of our swimmers that we tapered this week and the week before that have had significant time drops, 10, 15 seconds in a 500's pretty darn good. Our untapered kids are right where they should be. They're right on their best times. So next week and hopefully the week after that we'll be there.
I asked Coach Sperling this in the break, but how different is it this year having the split sectionals? I mean, you guys are going against Lexington to get good times, but you don't know where you guys are going to place because you have that second sectional coming up.
Right. That is frustrating because we don't have head-to-head competition. But in order to get out, which is a huge objective for a lot of these swimmers, it's all times. We can have 8 guys in the 50 and great times, and all of them could get out. So it's more on times than anything. We miss not being head-to-head, though.
And, you know, just with everything COVID going on, you have the quarantines and everything else, just how have you guys been able to handle this? I mean, Ontario and as well as Lexington, 2 really good swim squads. Just how have you guys been able to just handle this year?
Well, we follow all the COVID rules, which we did anyways, and about mid-season, Ontario put all their athletes back into pods, which was part of the process of opening, and we kept our kids in squads. So half of our team is on one pod and half's on the others. We've kept that.
All right, Coach, well, good luck in districts and the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Travis, and thank you, Coach. This is going to be the final event for the girls here. 400-yard freestyle. Sorry for blowing out your eardrums there, folks. Going to welcome Matt Wade back in.
Almost blew out my eardrum there.
So we're looking at 3 teams here, Matt. Ontario with easily the best time of the bunch. They're in lane 3, 3:45 is their seed timing. Lexington's in lane 4, 4:02 was their best, and Senior High with a 4:35. So fully expecting the Lady Warriors to kind of blitz their way through this event.
Yeah, like a lot of the coaches talked about though already, you're not just swimming your competitors in this heat. You're swimming the kids that are going off later today at this sectional, and then the other 4 sectionals in the Northwest District. So a lot of watching of the clock.
Appreciate what Coach said there is that she's absolutely right. Even though it'd be nice, I guess, to know exactly what you're looking at in terms of the sectional competition here at Malabar, ultimately it's a race against the clock, and it's a race against yourself when you're in the pool, just trying to get up the best possible time that you can. And I'm not sure why, but that was a very disgruntled Brock Sperling that just walked by. He is not happy with whatever he is seeing.
He's not happy about something, but, you know, as we look at the 400 free relay here for the girls, traditionally it's been a 4:12, 4:13, 4:15 that has made it out, but last year an anomaly of a 4:33.6 made it out. So, you know, as we look at the 3 teams here, Ontario and Lexington both probably going to be pretty safe. Mansfield at 4:35. If they can drop some time here, they might put themselves in a position to move on.
So Tigers fans out there are like, so you're telling me there's a chance, Matt? All right. See if they can drop a few seconds off of their time, and looks like Ontario might do that. They're off to a great start here as we're at about the 2:20 mark.
They are not only the defending MOAC champions in this event, Brian, but they are also the defending MOAC champs in 2021. They won their league championship last month, as well as their boys.
And I see Madison has the pool record here of, what, a 3:44? Is that from 1985? Am I reading that right?
I think that 85 is a type of 1996.
Yeah.
With the Brim sisters, Garrison and Eldridge. Yeah, that time was from 1996.
Okay, I was going to say.
That's also the sectional record.
All right, back to reality in modern times here. We're look at these Lady Warriors cooking it up. Lexington in second right now in lane number 4. Tigers are in lane number 2. They likely need to pick up the pace here if they want to try to move on and swim in the round of districts.
Ontario's not going to hit the time right now that they hit back at MOAC, but it doesn't matter for purposes of moving on. They're going to swim next week in this event as they finish 3:52.
And while it's always satisfying, of course, to get your PR or at least the best of the season, like you mentioned, for all intents and purposes, Lady Warriors know they're going to be moving on. Their time plenty good enough to advance to Bowling Green.
Same with Lexington coming in there at 4:06.2. That time's going to be safe to advance.
So the Tigers get their final swimmer in the pool now. And it doesn't look like they're going to have the time needed to move on.
As a collective relay, it may not, but here's the other thing that a lot of coaches do is when they're putting times in for the sectional tournament at the end of the year, the software system will automatically pull in their best relay time that school has gone that year. Now, maybe these 4 ladies from senior high weren't a part of that relay, but they still have a chance to go their best times in a 100 freestyle split here in this event.
Now past the 5-minute mark here of event number 23, and just one more to come here in this opening flight. It'll be the boys' edition of this race, the 400-yard freestyle relay, featuring the exact same teams.
You know, Brian, it's so weird. I look at my watch here. It's 2:05, and we started this sectional meet at 11 a.m. A 3-hour sectional meet. That's unheard of here in the Mansfield, at the Mansfield sectional.
Well, lucky for you, Matt, there's still one more flight on the way. We're going to do it all over again, except for with more teams next time. Just 5 competing here in the early sesh. We're going to have 6 in the afternoon.
As we look ahead at who we have coming in, we have a couple MOAC schools, a couple rival MOAC teams, Guyan and Shelby. We have Colonel Crawford, Bucyrus, and Winford, who swim out of the North Central Ohio Swim Conference, which is made up primarily of Northern 10 teams. And then we have Willard, who's coming in from the Sandusky Bay Conference. They swam in the Bay Division this year. So we'll see those 6 schools later on today.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Looks like we're having another break here.
Certainly had plenty of those today, Matt.
Well, you know, being the end of the year, a lot of these kids, this is their taper meet. It's great we're not rushing through the meet. We're giving the kids time to recover, to warm down, to get their bodies and minds really mentally ready to go for their next events.
Well, there are no next events for anybody here, Matt, so I guess I can't really understand the purpose of this, but, you know, maybe a cool little casual swim to cool down for the day. Why not?
For the purposes of this, with it being the last event for the girls, you see the Ontario girls in the water right now. This is their warm down. Typically you have swimmers that'll do a warm down at the end of a meet. This is their warm down time right now. And it's also allowing any breaststroker from the boys event time to recover between that event and the 400 free relay.
Looks more to me like a victory lap, as Ontario girls were pretty dominant here. So I think they're just kind of showing off the goods, letting people know, hey, we were the team to beat. We flexed, and we're moving on.
They looked really good in that event for sure.
And I see some of the comments. Tina Evans says, good job, Ontario girls. Obviously, you got to agree. They did some great things here this afternoon. And want to thank Mikola. Not going to try your last name, but thanks for cheering on Lexington all the way from the Ukraine and Greece. Very, very cool. Gigi James watching from Massachusetts. I was just there last week. Beautiful state. Big fan of Boston, that I was told it should be spelled with an AW, not an OS. It's a Boston. Watching from Denver, Colorado, my home state, is Becky Barcheski. So thank you guys for watching. Jimmy Smith, too, cheering on his grandson, Ross, all the way from Florida. And I recognize him, a frequent commenter, when we covered Cougars football games. Nevada City, California, also represented from Scott Jackson. And Heather dropping us a line, the biggest Colonel Crawford fan that I know, or one of. They've got some great fans. I'm sure the viewership's going to go way up this afternoon when the Eagles take form in the pool.
You know, Brian, we talked about today, a lot of these kids, this is their taper meet. This is the meet that they are trying to get their best times in order to advance. And then we have some of the kids. You mentioned Tina Evans, or Amy Evans earlier. She's one of those kids that's going to be held back for next week. Her full taper comes next week. Again, the Lynn University commit, Division II school down there in Florida. She's going to be headed there in the fall, and it's going to be fun to watch her next weekend up at Bowling Green and see what her and her other teammates can do that have been tapered for that meet.
All right, folks, this is the grand finale of flight number 1, event 24. It's the boys' 400-yard freestyle relay. The clear favorite here this afternoon, we've got the Lexington Minutemen in lane 3. Ontario is in lane 4. Senior High in lane number 5. And my anticipation is that Lexington clearly has a time that's good enough for districts. What about the other 2 competitors?
Yeah, times that have made it out in the last 4 years, Brian, we've had, it's kind of been all over the place. A 3:48, a 3:53, that's 5 seconds is a big difference. 345, but then last year a 354 made it in. So Lexington and Ontario pretty safe here. Mansfield at a 402. If they can drop some time, they're going to put themselves in the mix there.
Tigers right now in a distant third as, wow, look at the lead being built here by the Minutemen. Shake and bake.
And you know this first Lex swimmer in the water and then the second one to go off here, both of them not in racing suits. And as I look behind the blocks, none of those four are in racing suits. They're not in caps. So whatever time they put up today, that's only going to get better next week up at Bowling Green.
So Ontario's in second. They're about a half pool length behind the leader. And TY Tigers make their turn at the top. They're about a full 25 yards behind Lexington right now, but it looks like they're picking up the pace a little bit here. Going to have to kick it into another gear, though, if they want to move on to the round of districts, though clearly it seems like Lex and Ontario on pace to do just that. Looking great here as we're about probably halfway through this race.
Lexington, the defending OCC champions in this event from last month. Ontario won the MOAC in this event last month.
So a big lead here for Lex. I'm a big fan of these relays. Just feels like you swim with a little bit more extra energy, more pep when you know that you're doing it for other people too, Matt. It's not just about you, even though it is when you're in the water, but at the same time, you got three other dudes or ladies that are all counting on you to do your part. So I think these are amongst my favorite events.
You know, like you mentioned earlier, swimming is so much individualized, but then you get the medley relay, the 200 free, and then here the 400 free relay. You got so many of your teammates that are depending on you, and for I've never met a swimmer who has not enjoyed the team aspect that a relay brings.
And as I check the body language and facial placement of one Brock Sperling here, not really looking displeased. That is a rarity for the Lexington coach, so perhaps his team doing what he is expecting here, though they look like they're a little bit behind their standard pace. 3:19 is their best on the year. We'll see what they clock in at when they touch the final time here, coming up in just a couple of seconds.
Yeah, they went 3:19. That was back last month at OCC's over in Worcester. And they're going to come in here at, looks like 3:22, 3 seconds off their best in-season time. But as I look through results from last year's state meet, this was the same relay that finished 3:17 and finished 8th in the state last year. So they're set up to be in a good position heading into the next 2 weeks.
Warriors positioned number 2 here in this heat from lane 4. 3:34 is what they clock in at. A little bit better than their best on the year.
Yeah, that's their season best.
Mansfield Senior doesn't look like they are going to get a PR for the season, as we're now past the Tigers' best in 2020-2021. But they are going to touch, and that is going to take us to the end of our first flight, folks, here at the Sectional Swimming Championships at Malabar. But a reminder, while we are going to end this feed, we will start a new one with the second flight. That kicks off at approximately 4 p.m. And remind the folks at home, Matt, who do they get to watch? Who are the teams that are coming up?
We have 6 schools coming up. We have 2 schools from the MOAC in Guyan and Shelby, North Central Ohio Swim Conference schools, Colonel Crawford, Bucyrus, and Winford. And then we have out of the Sandusky Bay Conference, we have Willard coming in. So we have those 6 schools to look forward to this afternoon.
Oh, there they are right there. What a beautiful graphic. And we should be back with 2 cameras. Not going to let our interns get as close to the water as they did earlier. So when we return to competition, we'll have more angles and more fun and excitement coming up. So make sure that you check back with us at 4 p.m. But for right now, that's going to wrap up flight number 1. Talk to you guys soon.